go, 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 go. Yes. What's up, good people? Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever, however you're tuning in to the Boom Bap Chat number 96. I think it's time to start the show. My name is MC Till.
I am Masmerad.
Yeah, and together we bring you the Boom Bap Chat number 96. Our good brother Profound has the night off. So peace to Profound. Hope you're doing good out there, my man. Tonight is always, as always, is sponsored unofficially by our good friends over at Everybody's Records in Pleasant Ridge. So make sure you go over there if you're in Cincinnati, support them. And if you're not here, hey, you can check them out online at
Please
everybody'srecords.com.
be on the lookout for our new book, The Native Tongues Review, which is coming out May 27th, along with Profound's new CD. You can pre-order both of them and save money at boombapreview.com. All right? All right, Till, let's start the show, my brother.
Let's start the show. Indeed, our guest tonight is right here in Cincinnati. That's where I
Yeah.
that's where I reside. So I'm excited to have another Cincinnati cat in the house
Yeah.
tonight. He is if you've seen him live, then you will remember him because he puts on one of the livest shows around. Lots of energy, a lot of excitement. He's one half, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a duo now. Patterns of Chaos. We'll get into that and more. But first, let's just give a nice warm welcome. Join me as we welcome Jay Hill to the Boom Bap Chat. Yeah.
Yo, yo,
Peace, Jay Hill. How you doing, man?
I am doing good. How are y'all feeling?
I'm doing pretty good, my man. Doing good.
Ex-
Before we start the conversation, man, I just we like to pay respect to artists that we have on, our guests, and one thing, there's a lot to appreciate about you, but one thing I wanted to appreciate about you tonight is the fact that when people see you live, like you have so much energy and there's just a lot of excitement. And then when I talk to you one on one, like off the stage, you still have a lot of energy, but you know how to present it in a way that's engaging and not overpowering. When you step on the mic,
Well,
you're
thank you.
powerful and you got this energy, but then one on one it's like, but I can talk to you and I can listen to you and I can be engaging in another kind of way. And so I just appreciate that about you. So props to you for that, man.
I do my best. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no doubt,
My,
man.
my my parents had to talk like much sense into me about how to like speak to people outside the house.
You get hit sometimes. Get some.
It's like yeah, can't talk to folks like I talk to myself. Can't do that.
Right. That's good. Well, I'm glad your parents instilled that in you, man. It worked, man. It worked. So the
Oh no,
group
shout
you're
out my
in,
folks.
what's that, J.
Shout out my folks.
Yeah, man. Yeah. The group you're in, Patterns of Chaos.
Yeah,
It's one
POC.
one one other member, right? Stylitics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. It used to be three members, wasn't it? Or did I make that
Yeah,
up?
it was
Okay.
three of us.
Okay.
It was Toph. He was our electric cellist.
That's right. Cellist. Yeah.
Mhm,
Electric
mhm.
cellist. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, no, it
Be,
was fun.
yeah, before we talk about patterns of chaos, I just wanted to ask you, when you think of hip hop in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati hip hop scene, what comes to mind for you?
Um, Definitely like just the Mockbee and like everybody we met.
Mm,
Since then, everyone we've been building with. So that's like, of course, like POC because that's where we all met.
right.
Um, then there's like Roberto, there's JB Lamage, there's Ronan, there's the Doty family, there's Grand Ace, like John G was always up there like freestyling with us. There's you. Actually, when I think Cincinnati hip hop, I think of like you and like K drama and Wonder
Mm,
Brown because
oh, word.
I was a little Christian boy growing up. I was listening to
Yeah.
y'all. So
Oh, right on,
so
man.
like yo, like your names were like popping up on like compilation CDs that I was picking up here and there.
That's dope.
Like seeing y'all in person, I'm like, oh snap! Now
Yeah.
you're calling me to do podcasts. Like, oh
Yeah,
sick.
man. So you mentioned the mock beat for folks like outside of Cincinnati that don't know. Can you kind of just touch on what that is and what that experience was like, pre-COVID?
It's this big old tunnel. Like I guess it used to be a cellar,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like split. It's like this big half oval, just like split down the middle. The left side is a bar. The right side is just the longest music venue you've ever seen. It's a very long venue, um, and it's dank and dark, and it's got bricks, and it's like it looks like a it doesn't from the outside you would never know like it's a place where some of the like livest shows in Cincinnati were happening. You would never
Mm-hmm.
know like Scribble Jam was happening there years ago. You would never know like an artistic renaissance was being birthed there like 5 years ago. But
Yeah.
it was all like happening in real time. So like even like me and Stahl's first like we had our first shows together like kind of in like the same day, like as a performing unit, when it was like before there was even like the Patterns of Chaos name. Like we were at everybody's records for one, and then I think we were at like 5 Points Alley like that same afternoon, and then like the
Mm,
next day we opened up for the Far Side at the Mockbee.
dope.
Like that was like our first real show that we were like booked for.
Yeah, that's dope, man. The Far Side. I love the Far Side.
It
So
was wild.
so my observation of the hip hop scene, before COVID. I know COVID kind of threw things off because everyone just kind of stayed in and didn't do shows for a minute. But my observation of the hip hop scene, you hear a lot of talk, or at least I hear a lot of talk of like old
Mm,
heads and young heads and like the age gap and that whole conversation. But what I saw happening in Cincinnati was like, okay, fine, whatever. You can have your conversations if you want. We'll be over here hanging out, building community and having a good time. And anybody that wants to get down can get down. That
yeah,
was the feeling that I had. Was that, yeah, you feel that too?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like if you were dope, then please come grab this mic. Like this
Yeah.
beat's like this last guy's been going too long. I don't care. I don't care where you're from. Like, come on,
Right.
go. Like
Yeah.
it was just it was really fun. Like when I went in there for the first time, I saw Stalls up there finger drumming, and next to him was DJ Noah I mean from the Animal Crackers,
Mm.
and I'm seeing like a real vinyl scratching ass DJ next to this dude who's closer to my age, like drumming, and people are like up there freestyling to it, and I'm like, this is the most hip hop ass thing I've seen
Yeah.
in my life, and it's up the street from my mom.
Yeah.
So I was there every week. So
Yeah.
and until I started getting like antisocial after a while, like be seeing too many people too many times.
Yeah. Do you have an introverted side of you?
Oh God, yeah. No,
Yeah.
like I hate to love to admit it, but like quarantine was amazing. I
Mm. No, I
want to
feel
go
you. Yeah.
like being on the sales floor. I was very over talking to people. I worked like retail and tech jobs the
Yeah.
past like 7 years.
Right.
So like it was just killing me. So when I was in the house for a year, I was just like making beats. I was
Nice.
rapping and making beats and talking to Roberto day in and day out. And we were just like on Zoom, like working on stuff. He was connecting me to like these people he had like met through SoundCloud and Twitter who were like some of our like really good friends now.
Dope, dope. Yeah. And for those that don't know, Roberto is another Cincinnati artist, super dope artist here in Cincinnati. I,
Yeah.
I do want to talk to you about your music and Patterns of Chaos. Almas, anything you want to interject before we jump into that?
No, I'm good. I'm just taking
Good.
it in.
Taking it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Patterns of Chaos, you and Stylitics.
Yes.
and you really, as far as I know, you've released two official projects and then like some demos. Is that right?
Oh, you done your research? Yeah, no one ever
Yeah,
remembers
man.
we did the B-side project.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But the projects, the kind of the official ones, Freedom, I think 2018 it was, and then the
Yes.
joint you just released, Chaotic Good.
Chaotic
Um,
good.
I'm trying to
Baby.
think. Freedom came out, and then did the pandemic come like soon after, or was there some time there where you were out performing Freedom and
Oh, there was a
plugging in?
good amount of time because like Freedom
Okay.
were like the first four songs we had together. So
Oh
we
wow. Okay.
yeah, like we because that was basically our live set just recorded.
Got you. Can you
Like the
walk
same
people? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say like yeah, like the same four songs that we did at the Far Side show are just about the same four. Like I wrote a little bit more and then yeah, we just kind of recorded that and those four songs were what we wrote on until last year.
Oh wow.
But like even then like I was writing new songs amidst all that. I just didn't get to like record them and release them as a package until the end
Sure.
of last.
Yeah. So I know you've done a lot of performing, and we'll get into the tour that you just did. As you've been performing, over the years, wh- like have you learned what makes a really good, captivating show? And what is the special sauce or the ingredients to a really good show for you and POC?
Um in general, I would say I'm just learning. Like I'm just getting at like this is our first real tour, so I'm just seeing
Sure.
like what people really mess with. But like for POC, folks just love like the unpredictability of it.
Mm,
Like we try to make sure every show is like something like people haven't seen before, and if they've seen it before, it's still gonna be dope.
yeah.
Like we're still gonna do something different. I'm gonna flub a lyric and say start the song over, and then Stalls is gonna like cut out of the song like halfway through the verse and just start finger drumming, and I'll start freestyling, and then we'll jump into the next song, and sometimes folks would think they would think like we'd rehearsed all of that, and honestly, by the time someone tells us about it, I forgot we did it.
That's
Like
dope. That's dope.
it's kind of that's what I like about it though. It's like jazz. It's very improvisational.
Mm, yeah.
Like it's like
That's dope. But
20. Hmm?
do you still do a lot of like rehearsing, like
No,
the set? No. Oh,
no,
really?
no.
Interesting.
we
Do you think you think that would detract from like the improvisation?
No, I don't. I think we probably should rehearse more.
That's hilarious because y'all are dope live performers.
I just
You
know my
know?
songs. Like I wrote them, and then if I
Yeah.
don't know 'em, I can usually like pull another verse out of my pocket.
Right. That's
You
cool. So
know,
you
like
just
and we do them enough. Like when we're doing shows consistently enough, it's like muscle memory. Like I just kind of
yeah,
hear the
yeah.
beat, and as
Sure.
long as I catch like a couple key words, like the next few bars are just like autopilot. Like my mouth just
Right,
kind of
sure.
it's just hey, breathe, breathe, breathe.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, voice up here, now down here.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah.
Ah, you can skip that word. That word's not that important. Breathe.
Right, right. And you're doing all this in real time?
Yeah.
You're not like pre-thinking like where you're gonna breathe. You're just like instinctively doing it.
I mean, I kind of learn it while I'm recording a song, and
Yeah.
I mean, but a lot of times before I make the final recording, like I'll make a demo, then I'll do it live a whole bunch, and then I'll re-record it. Because like
Man.
I like to get the performance of the song down. I like to make it feel like I know the song in the booth.
Yes.
I love doing a good like freshly written joint. I love like being in the studio with people and it's like everybody cooked up and we're trying to record that same night. Like that stuff's magical. But like my own
Yeah.
stuff, I'll take years, man. I'll take
Yeah.
literal years.
I like that approach, man. One thing I've often told MCs that, one advice on how to make a good recording is I'll tell them write the song, obviously, memorize the song, and
Mm-hmm.
then book a 7-day tour in your city. And it doesn't, I mean, you can, one night can be at your house for your kids or your girlfriend or whoever, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like this big thing, but just find coffee shops, whatever, find 7 nights in a row where you can perform for people and perform that song, those 7 nights, then
Mm-hmm.
record the song, because there's something
Mm-hmm.
about, let me ask you this. For me, there's something about being on a tour of any sort where you get to know the song in like this new intimate way than if you
Yeah,
just, you know what I mean?
for
That's
sure.
true.
Like, especially like when you, it's like you kind of realize like what you're saying when you have to say it over and over, and then you have to stand behind what you say to like people who have never met you before, so they
Right.
really have to take you at your word. You don't get to explain yourself afterward.
Right. Yeah.
That impression
Yeah.
is that. Luckily, like I would say, like over the course of the tour, we were pretty well received. Although I do have a really funny story about one song. Like when we get to that, I don't know if this is the time.
Yeah, no, let's do it. Because I want to
Oh,
talk about the tour. So yeah, let's jump into that. Before you tell the story,
all right.
can you just tell people, just a little bit about the tour, just some basics, where you went, how long you were
Yeah.
gone, that type of thing?
Okay, so for the past, actually, let's say it was like what March 17th to April 1st. POC was on tour with Landon Wordswell and Modest. Landon Wordswell and the Don Avalar are another like rapper producer duo. They were the
Mm,
headliners. Landon's from St. Louis. The Don Avalar, aka Ricky, he's from New Mexico. Modest is also from New Mexico, like via Chicago, I believe. Um, but yeah, we went on a tour across the Midwest over the course of like 2 weeks. Started in Cleveland, did Columbus, then did a couple dates in Cincinnati, and then from there we went through Illinois, Wisconsin, and then finished up on April 1st in Indianapolis. And
nice.
yeah, we're home. Been back.
Home.
It'll be a week tomorrow, and I guess I can no longer. I'm running out of time to use my I just got back excuse.
I feel you. Yeah. That
Tired.
probably only lasts about a week.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. What on the tour? Yeah, you want to jump into that story? You're about to tell us a story.
Yeah, now I gotta remember which one it was.
You
Oh
can tell
man,
multiple.
hold on, hold. Oh, there was the one time there was Champaign, Illinois, where the marquee got the credits wrong, and in big old all caps letters it said Landon Swordwell and Dom Avalar.
Were they upset about it or they didn't care?
They weren't very happy about it at the
Oh,
moment.
really? Oh man.
Like they were laughing, but I could tell Landon was he was a little peeved because like they were because like the promoters apparently like everyone who worked at that venue before had quit, and that venue used to be like one of his like best venues apparently. Like people were usually like on
Mm,
their stuff, but yeah, like these folks like were apparently like a little a little later on the draw, like because we got there when they told us to get there and the place was like empty and the marquee was wrong.
man. I remember that happened here, a show I threw and we brought in Open Mike Eagle.
No.
And yeah, whoever did the little, it was like a little, like one of those like restaurant shop, things
Hmm.
you put out front. And
Hmm.
whoever did it put Open Mic like MIC,
Oh
and
no.
it's open MIKE. So I don't think he was happy about that, but it happens,
He,
man. Human errors, it
it
happens.
do. And I
So
remember what happened now. Oh, I'm sorry.
yes, tell us, yes.
Yeah, so what had happened was speaking of Open Mike Eagle,
Man, I love that
um
podcast.
yo, I gotta catch up. I'm like two behind right now. But
Mm,
so we have a song. So he said there's no like language restrictions on this one, but so Patterns of Chaos has the song called "Bitch Nigga" that
Right.
is like in Cincinnati. That song kind of cracks at like near every show. It's really fun to perform, and it worked really well at most spots on tour. Like we were pretty judicious about it. You know, we would kind of like read the room,
Yeah.
and um, it was in. I want to say it was in Bloomington, Illinois. It was either Bloomington or it was a city in Wisconsin. Hold up. Either way, we thought there were like enough black people in the crowd, and there was about the amount that there usually are before we decide to do that song. Like the ratio is pretty much looking right that we could do the proper call and response. And for those who don't know, the hook of the song is "Don't be yo what a bitch nigga. Don't be yo what a bitch nigga. Don't be yo what." And then you like the crowd usually yells that back at us. It's really fun seeing who does it. But that was the one time I have ever seen a crowd just like dissolve
Oh,
in the middle of the first hook.
were they just
And
uncomfortable? Were they uncomfortable?
I guess
Just
so.
didn't know what to do? Yeah.
They still cheered pretty loudly at the end of the song. Like I had no choice but to commit too. Like cause like that song has like I mean it's two verses, but there's like the little part in between the verses. We slow the song down at certain points, so I gotta
Right.
like so we gotta spend more time on parts, and then the ending is all slowed down and dramatic. We do this whole thing with it live, and like I just had to go hard, even though the crowd was like not visibly feeling it
Right.
at the moment. But like once the song is actually like much nicer than the title implies. Like
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
it's more. Yeah, you've heard it. It's like it's more of
Yeah.
a character analysis type song.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
but
I always took that song as like the hook was kind of almost like an attention grabber,
exactly,
kind of bring you
exactly.
into it because the lyrics, like you could dissect those lyrics and
Hmm.
kind of have a
Thank you.
conversation just on the lyrics alone. Yeah, 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 definitely. Um, and that's actually why I mentioned you know feeling Far Side vibes with some of your music. That's actually one of the songs where it's like, oh man, this feels like a Far Side type vibe.
Very much like Far Side. Like in my head, I like to think of KMD.
Mm,
Hopefully, hopefully less tragic, but
yeah,
like I'm a very big fan of like Black Bastards, like
yeah,
Mr.
that's a dope album.
Like, and I don't know if it's just the hipster in me, but like Black Bastards is like pretty steadily my favorite '90s hip hop album.
Oh,
Like
word.
it's really, really, really impressive to me. Like I think the production on it is insane. Um, like on what had happened with Mike Eagle, and he's interviewing Dante Ross right now. He's talking about
Right.
like how much and Sub Rock had the production on that one too. So I'm
Mm,
like real impressed by that, and especially knowing like how great of a producer like Doom would go on to be.
yeah.
It's like it's cool knowing like he had like a real collaborative relationship with his brother like that. Um, but so it's like, of course, the story behind the album makes it all the more compelling. But I think the music itself is like really cool. I think the lyrics still take dissecting for me like now. So I'm still picking up
Yeah.
like new stuff, but I think it's like I still think it's like kind of catchy. I think it's like fun and danceable, but it's still like really aggressive. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
chaotic good is kind of like that in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
When you
I think that I feel that. Yeah. And for those that don't know, we've referenced this a few times. Open Mike Eagle has a podcast, which is my favorite podcast out right now, called What Had Happened Was, where each season he sits down with just one artist or one person for the entire, series and
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, the first one was Prince Paul, which was I love
Paul,
that. I can just listen to Prince Paul talk for days. Like he's just
he's
fun to
funny.
listen to. You know what'd you say?
He's really funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He is. And then who was the second season?
The second one was LP.
Oh, LP, El
Dude, when
Producto.
I tell
Yes.
you I lost it just at the announcement because I'm a really big LP fan. So
Yeah, he's
I
dope.
was thinking, I was like, it'd be really crazy if he got Doom or LP for the second season. There's no way he'd get like he wouldn't get LP. And then I don't
Wow, you
know,
thought that?
I kind of called it. Yeah, like I
Yeah,
somehow called that.
that's dope.
I get I don't get much else right, but I got
All right,
that. And
who's
that
next then? Who do you think he's going to interview next?
oh,
Or who would
uh,
you like to see him interview?
I don't know because like LP was honestly one of my dream picks.
Mm,
I wanted to see him get like Doom or LP, and
yeah,
unfortunately Doom's not really a possibility. And
yeah, yeah.
but who else would I really, 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 really want to hear? RZA,
Yeah, that would be a dope one.
yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, someone like him, maybe Dell.
Yep, yep. Yeah, anyone from Hyro, I think would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he's got Dante Ross because Dante Ross has such a wide,
That would be an
experience
interesting
with
pick. I
so
didn't.
many different. And his beats, man, like people sleep on, his production crew. Like they made some incredible beats for KMD, for Dell.
Hmm.
Some of the dopest beat. Well, everything on that second Dell album is dope, but the
See, I gotta go
SD,
back and check now. I gotta. Oh,
yeah.
wait. Was he on the first Dell album? Cause I wish my brother George was here because I have that CD and I like that one.
I don't think Dante Ross was. I don't think he was involved in the production
Like,
on that one. I think that was more Cube, Ice Cube, and his connections.
I thought I thought some of it might have been self-produced. I'm not sure what I thought on that one, but if Cube produced that, that's crazy because
Yeah,
those
well,
beats are really,
I don't
really
think
good.
Cube, I don't think Cube produced it, but I think
Mm,
he was responsible
okay.
for the more of the like P Funk, funkadelic, type, sounds you hear on there. But anyway,
Word,
we
word, word.
digress.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I love digressing.
I do too. Digressing is fun. Io Mas, anything on your mind you want to chime in on?
Rap music.
No, not really. I'm
Just taking
good.
it all in.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Um, so I do want to get into this album, man, Balloon Mind State, by De
Yes.
La Soul, and kind of want to take this, pretty much just take this out of here, the rest of the show. But before that, was there anything about the tour that surprised you that you were not expecting?
Um. Hmm. Hmm. I can't say that I wasn't surprised. I guess I was just kind of. I didn't have many expectations because, like,
That's dope.
especially because, like, I'm broke anyway. I wasn't really expecting to make money,
Right.
so so I didn't really think it was going to be easy. If anything, I was surprised at like the consistent quality of the hotels.
Oh wow, that's
I
dope.
mean, like they weren't like fancy or nothing, but like there was nothing like I think only one of them was like kind of dingy, and I think that's just like, but that's just kind of like location based.
Yeah.
Like, dag. I'm really glad people mess with the freestyles
You said
because those
mess up the freestyles.
I said I'm glad they messed with the freestyles because those had a
Oh
lot of potential to go left.
yeah, yeah.
Um, let's see.
Was it
A
an
couple
experience?
venues.
Oh, go
Hmm?
ahead, go ahead. No, you good. Go ahead.
Hey, a couple venues. I was surprised that like are still promoters are shady in different ways than I expected. They can be a little weird.
Mm,
Like
okay.
and like some politics like some politics locally, like between artists and venues, and what some people are like, what some people can do to like protect their egos, can be kind of surprising in the moment.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, overall, yeah, I was just taking it all in. I
Yeah.
was just learning.
Was it an experience that you look back on and think, man, I'm never doing that again? Or is it an experience where you're like, I can't wait to get
I
back
got the
out and do
bug.
that again?
Oh, I got the bug, man. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
like now, of course, now that I'm back in my apartment with my girlfriend, I'm really not trying to leave the apartment for a good long time. But if I leave the apartment, I want to go out of town.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear
Kind
you,
of
man.
want that to be my life for a little bit. We're trying to get a house. I hope it becomes I'm not coming out of the house unless I'm leaving town.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that.
I'm
Well,
not coming out.
I hope you get many, many more opportunities to do just that, man. All right. I think it's time. I think it's time we dig in
Stick the
to
bush. Stick the bush.
Balloon. Yes, it might
Bush.
blow up, but it won't
Bush.
go pop. So this album right here, for people tuning into the video podcast, Balloon Mind State by De La Soul. I had asked, I sent Jay Hill a message. I said, hey, what's your favorite Native Tongues collective album? And Balloon Mind State was the answer. I was like, oh, great. That's my favorite album too. Mas, Pasta Noose, that we share. He's our favorite MC of all time.
Yeah.
So a lot of love in the room tonight for De La Soul and this album specifically, Blue Mind State. So being a younger MC,
Hmm.
who did someone introduce this album to you? Did you find it like digging on the internet? Like, how did you? Do you remember how you were introduced to this
Um,
album?
well, my dad like has always been a fan of, excuse me, De La Soul. Like he like
Mm,
since I was little, he was always like
yeah,
playing around me. So I got a lot of like 3 Feet High and Rising. I got and like he said, like the other ones, I'll just have to like hear when I get older because they had cuss words. So so yeah, he sort of let me explore it at my own pace. I think I like eventually gravitated to Balloon Mind State because like whenever De La discussions would come up, like people would talk about Balloon Mind State like in this different way. Like there were the singles, there were like the Me, Myself, and I's, like and like the Feel Good Inc. moments with De La Soul, and
yeah.
like people even talked about like Break of Dawn, but nobody told me about like Ego Tripping. Like
Mm-hmm.
and I'm seeing like all these like critical acclaim reviews, and I'm like, and I'm a nerd, so I'm eventually gonna have to see what the hype is. But then I listened to it, and I had to listen to it a good few times for it to like really like click. But
Yeah,
but I just kind of kept going back to it because there was just something kind of like nagging me about it because I was like, what
yeah,
are they even saying? Like it's so deep in its like weird 90s slang like of the time,
yeah,
like it sounds like it's so there's so many like layered ass inside jokes and like cultural references
yeah, yeah.
that like I have to go back and see like okay, like maybe there's something to this, and then it's like, oh, there's a lot going on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it's very, and I think Open Mike Eagle or maybe it was Prince Paul talked about coded. It was very coded language throughout that
Yeah,
album,
I
which
like
makes it like stand the test of time because you can not understand something for decades and still like wonder. Like there's intrigue to the album. Almas, how about you, man? Do you remember how you were introduced to that album, Balloon Mind State? Oh, Almas, we can't hear you. The connection, the vocal connection has been lost.
Oh wait, by the way, Till, your video's been frozen on my side for a minute.
Oh, really? Okay, well,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Hopefully people can still hear me. That's all right. We're having all kinds of technical difficulties tonight, but um as Io Moss works out his audio situation, I can tell you I remember I was pretty young and De La Soul was my favorite, my favorite hip hop group because I was just I was a hip hop nerd like you. And I begged my mom to go buy me the De La Soul Balloon Mind State tape, and she did. My mom was dope, still is. So
Shout
I
out.
remember we
One,
went out
two.
to the store. There we go. Almas is
Yeah.
back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yep.
now.
Okay,
Almas,
cool,
we're
cool, cool,
good.
cool. My bad. Go
Um,
ahead, bro. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, you're good. You're good. I remember we went out to the store, bought the tape, and there was something about that tape, man, because I was a huge 3 Feet High and Rising fan. That was my favorite
Hmm.
album of all time for a long time. And then, De La Soul is Dead. That was my favorite. I love that album too. But Balloon Mind State, man, it didn't like I liked it at first. I thought it was dope. I loved it.
Hmm.
But I'm not so sure I liked it more than, their first 2 albums for a long
Yeah.
time. It took a lot it took, a couple decades for me to like be like, "Nah, this is actually my favorite De La Soul album." So, yeah, just kind of it's like a slow burn. It just keeps getting better and better. So, anyway, Iomas, how about you, man? What was your
I
introduction?
think I heard it in a store, some store I was
Mm.
in, and they was
Mm.
playing it. And I was like, "Is that Pasta News? Is that new?" And so I asked the lady I was like, "Who is that?" She was like, "That's De La's new album." I was like, "Word." And I went soon. I left there and went and got it. And
Yeah.
I was like you. At first I didn't initially like it. I
Oh,
was like,
really?
"Dude, what is this, man?" Like I liked the beginning, like what I'm saying, might blow up, what I'm
Mm.
Yeah.
saying, but it won't go pop. I was like, okay, okay, I'm in. And then I don't know, it had to mature. Like
Mm.
me, I guess I had to catch up to where they were at.
Yeah.
Because I think that album was like way ahead of its time, and I had to catch up to it. I wasn't there
Yeah.
because I was still on De La Soul is Dead. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then they went in this direction. So I was like, man, Joe, like it was just I don't think I was there yet. But it was like you. It took me a couple years to really value what Balloon Mind State was. I was like, oh yeah, this is it. It just
Yeah.
matured. It's just like it was like wine. Like it just
Yeah.
matured over time. It got better and better over time.
Yeah. What do you guys think it is about that album that makes it like that, makes it get better over time?
Um, I think part of it is like the coded language and
Yeah.
that we were discussing earlier because like it just
Right.
gives there's something to dissect, but also the sound of it, it's like really full. Like there's a lot going on
Yeah.
like at most moments through the album. Like even at one point, like there's Japanese hip hop group comes in. It was Shadara Par, who I was hip to Shadara Par before I was hip to Balloon Mind State.
Oh,
For real.
wow.
Like my earlier college years, pirating a whole bunch of like whatever I could find from this torrent site that my friend told me about. Like he there's like this Asian music site that had like all like the mainstream music you can imagine from like the whole eastern half of the world. But then there was like but then there was also like the stuff like even Japanese hipsters probably don't care about that much. That's where I would. That's where you.
That's dude, that's crazy, man. Cuz I didn't know anything. I mean, I was young when I heard it, so I had no frame of reference of who that was. I still
Mhm.
don't know who that was. What is the name of that group again?
It's like Shah Dada Par, like
Okay.
SCHA space like DARA space PARR. Like I'll send you some of their stuff. They're tight.
Okay, that makes sense because it's listed on the credits. It's listed as SDP, so that
SDP,
makes
yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, and I love that beat, man. It's only like a minute. I don't know, a minute and a half long. I wish they would
Mm,
have extended that. I wish De La Soul would have jumped on that track too, and
Yeah.
rhymed on it. Because that beat, I love that beat.
mm-hmm.
I
So.
thought that was De La at first. I was like, that gotta be them playing, Joe.
that
Yeah, like
Nope.
that's crazy. It's crazy.
is crazy.
And even like I am I be that the intro of Maceo Parker, like I cannot like prove this in any sense, but I think it's one of the first times like a song had like an extended instrumental intro before like the track it was actually for, like until we got
Mm-hmm.
to like Kanye's All of the Lights. And people were probably doing that before, but I cannot. I mean, people were. I'm sure people did that in between them, but I don't know who before De La was like, yeah, we're just gonna like have a jazz legend come on here and just like do his thing for a bit, and then cut the beat and continue the album and come back to this later. That was a
Yeah.
crazy structural idea for an album. Like people
Yeah.
barely do that now.
I would love to talk to Pasta Noose about that because in the credits, he's listed him and I forget who it was. I'm looking at it here. The sequencing because sequenced by Paul Goodrich and Pasta Noose.
Mm.
Mm.
So I'd love to talk to Paul, whoever Paul, I don't know that name, in Pasta Noose about that. Like what was the thought process behind that, you know? Because it to me it worked really well. It just kind of like
Yeah,
has this like cool. I mean, I mean, it's legitimate. I Be Blowing is just a jazz song. I mean, it's a jazz song like
it's a
on
jazz
this De La
song.
Soul record, and then it comes back
It's
later
really
with the
good.
full beat, and it's like, wow, this is dope. So it's like it kind of shows you. It's almost like it paints a picture for like De La Soul paints a picture of like here's like the music in its authentic original state and here's how hip hop takes it and
Mm.
breathes, different life into it. And here's how, we create, something new out of something that's already been here, on the same album. I just thought that was dope. So
For sure.
yeah.
Like
The
I think
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say like I think like it's like a key thing in any art form to like be like knowledgeable of your past and
Yeah.
to be like forward thinking and to be able to like include both of those in like one piece of art like in one work, that kind of does help it become like more of a timeless thing or at least like more of an exemplary work because it's something that like can kind of explain itself because like
Mm.
that knowledge was sort of like poured into it. Like you're gonna walk if you spend enough time with Balloon Mind State, I think you can learn something about hip hop, and that's what's important about it.
That's dope. That's dope. All right. Favorite song on the album. If you had
Uh,
to name one tonight, what would you name Jay Hill?
in the Woods.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy you
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, right.
That's crazy. I mean, for
Yeah.
multiple reasons that we'll get into. Let's go to Almas though before we get into In the Woods because I was gonna say the same thing for
Well,
Almas.
this one of my. It's not on the album, but it's the one I talked about. It was on a single
Mm.
with Biz Markie, where he starts off. Where Pa starts off with I was born in the boogie down. Then Biz Marquis's like, no, you can't start off with that. You haven't been on this joint in years. Kick some more funk joint like this. And they come in, that joint is cold,
What's the
man.
name of that song again?
I don't know, man, but Pops be like P-O, what they say POSDUOS, usually the reason for a cardiac arrest. Like they went in on that joint, man. Like that's like one of my favorite songs off of that album. Even though it's not on the album, they should have put that on the album.
Yeah. What was that? Was that the B
That
side to
joint's,
Ego Tripping?
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Ego Tripping. That's a huge song for me too.
yeah.
That,
Ego Trip
I
is
love
dope.
Ego
that's
Tripping. I love
the
Area.
I love Area. That's my joint.
Three
Yeah,
days
Area is
later.
my joint.
3 days
Yeah.
later. I didn't know what they were
so
talking about when I was a kid, but and that's the thing I love about like not just this album, but a lot of like older hip hop albums. There's a lot of language where like if you're a little kid, you don't know what they're talking about, because
Mhm.
it's presented in such a way that you need to have some life experience, know some things to know what they're talking about, which I think is dope. Jay, what were you saying, man?
Oh, I was gonna say, I forget. I had a point about something, but then I was also looking at like what were the other songs I liked off here? I'm like, oh yeah,
Dude,
Patty Duke and like I
Patty
Am I
Duke,
Be.
I
Yeah,
am. In
I
Break
am.
of Dawn, I remember seeing that video for Break of Dawn. Oh man,
Mm,
because I saw the video first, and I think that's how I realized the album was coming or was out or whatever. Like I love
mm.
that
Yeah,
video.
yeah,
The
yeah,
Michael Jackson sample, man,
Deuce,
yeah. They killed
super
that,
dope.
man.
Oh my gosh, so
And
good.
I just like what Pos was saying on on IMIB when he was like,
Mm,
he said, "I am Pos the new generation of slaves here to make papes in my record exec rates. The pot of
yeah,
Yep.
revenue I created." He was
I
dropping
guess I
yeah,
jewels in
don't
man,
get
that
a
joint,
cut for
man.
2 months a
Boy,
month late.
swoop the rate. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? He was like, what he said, something about the apples, but the ones I get is usually with all worms. And so I was like, dang, Joe, he dropping gems. Like,
No,
oh
like
my
yeah,
God.
he
That's like
dropped
I
some.
love pasta news, man.
yeah. That's dope. So going back, Jay Hill, I was gonna say the same song. I, there's 10 songs on here. Well, I Be Blowing is 11, and then Long Island Wildin' is 12. But 10 songs that De La Soul are on. And I would
Yeah.
say at any given day, probably 8 of them could be my favorite of this album. That's how much I
Mm,
love all of them. But In the Woods, I
Yes.
especially love In the Woods. And I think one of the reasons why I like this album so much is because of Shorty No Mas.
Yep.
Even though
yeah.
she only gets credit for being, I think, only one song where it says featuring Shorty No Mas, but she's
Yep.
on a lot of these songs, like just
Yeah.
popping up, just like a line here, an ad lib
Yeah.
there.
She's
Yeah.
a
And I don't know
character.
what it is, man. Yeah, it's character. It just gives the
Yeah.
album just, I don't know. It just gives it something, a little something extra that if she wasn't on here, I don't think the album would be as good. It'd still be dope, but I think
Okay.
she adds that much to the album.
It's like an extra bit of spark because like especially De La, like they're older than her at this point because she said she was
Right.
like 16, 17 at this point,
Oh,
and
wow.
they're 3 albums deep. On their last one, they already declared themselves dead. They sound jaded, like they're pissed off this whole album. So here comes
Yeah.
like this little bright, spunky, like goofy Shorty No Mas, like still like spitting like the same like abstract stuff as them, but like still like having something to prove,
Yeah.
and just like looking like, yeah, now I'm gonna dominate. We're still having fun on these weird cartoony beats.
Yeah. Yeah,
She was a cool foil on
and
this record.
her voice, man, she's got one of my favorite voices in hip hop. I just love
Hmm.
her voice, on the mic. So I wanted to bring her up, obviously, because she's dope and she adds so much to this album. But also, as people might know, tuning in, we have a book that we're almost finished with called the Native Tongues Review, where it's like almost like a fanzine, but in
Yeah.
book form, where we are just like paying homage, reflecting on native tongues albums and whatnot. And so we have some interviews in the book, and Jay Hill agreed to do an interview with Shorty Nomas for us for the book, which happened earlier today. So yeah, so what insights did you learn as you were talking to Shorty Nomas this morning, specifically around her involvement in this album?
Um. So around her involvement in this album, she said she was just talking about like the environment that she was like kind of working in at the time. Like she was young, but like all the natives, like they were like good folks, and like really the like native tongues, like as we know it at that point, kind of had dissolved by the time she was there. So like she knew a lot of those people, but at this point she was like more working solely with De La, and like she was getting like the artist treatment. She was getting ready to do an album with like the Beat Miners and stuff like that. Like it was a whole like it was a whole arc. I'll send you actually I have uploaded the interview video to Drive. I have to send it to you
Oh, nice. Thank you.
after this. Yeah. But yeah, like we talked about a lot. It was a really cool conversation.
Yeah.
We went over like what she's been up to since then, like why we didn't hear as much of her in hip hop.
Yeah.
Um, in the post interview, which is always like the fun part when we say the interview's done, like we actually talked about like life
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and like parenthood. But I tried to bring it. But before that, like yeah, I promise we stayed on topic. We were talking about the impact of native tongues and where she thinks like she can see like just kind of like the ripple effect of what they were of what she and her peers were like doing back then,
Yeah,
and like what we can learn from it now. And yeah, and we talked about just like how she has like changed as an artist in the time since then,
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that good stuff.
Did you get a sense that she is back to making more music? I know she released a project,
Yeah,
4 months ago, but did you get a sense that she's gonna do more?
honestly, I think like this album seems to be, according to social media, like this album seems to be doing pretty well
Yeah,
for her. So
it's dope.
I think she will keep going. I think I
Oh,
think if we wanted to like book her in Cincinnati, we could probably try. Like,
hey, that
I
would be
think
super dope.
she seems like creatively active right
Yeah,
now. So like I
that's
don't know,
dope.
it's like the right time to try to like throw a beat at her. Be like, hey yo.
No doubt. Hey, we should get together, like get Stylitics, get together some beat makers and send her like a Cincinnati beat tape. Like Cincinnati
I
loves Shorty No Mas. Here are some beats
so
for you, for you to consider
I
if you're
think we
interested.
need to do that, period. I think there
Yeah.
needs to be like a Cincinnati sampler piece
Yeah.
of media so that people understand just what is happening right now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even with beat makers, you got Stalls,
Yeah.
you got Smoke Face, you got Devin Burgess, you got Black,
Yeah.
you got shit, Grand
Yeah.
Ace again, you got me
Yep.
again, you got Roberto again. Like
Well,
everybody,
Ancient,
everybody
the Four
Oh,
Ancient
shout out
Records
Brian Ancient.
cats.
Yeah, shout out Brian.
Yep.
You
Homage,
got
CVG, dope
Yon
stuff.
Li. You
Yes.
got
Yes.
I think Fame makes beats. YNO Studios.
Yep.
Everybody
Yep.
everybody's kind of mess with stuff. Girl Next Door, she makes her own beats.
That's dope.
Um,
So yeah, we should get a Cincinnati beat tape to Shorty No
we need
Mas. That would be dope.
we
So
need it needs to be like an actual tape. We need to be getting
yeah,
back to the
get
media,
the tapes.
baby.
There you go. So
Oh
going
wait,
back to Balloon. Oh, go ahead.
oh, wait, no.
You can plug it. Go ahead.
I
Plug
was
plug
definitely
your
about to
joints.
plug. No, this is not the time.
Not the time. All right, we'll plug later. We'll get back to plug one,
I
two, and
got
three here.
one, two, and three, baby.
We'll definitely plug those at the end. But going back to Balloon Monster, something that I thought was fascinating when I was listening to Open My Eagle and Prince Paul talk about it was the creation process of the album and how
Yeah.
everyone produced on the album. Like Maceo did beats on it, Dave, Paz, Prince Paul, like,
Mhm.
and the fact that they were all doing stuff kind of like on their own and like bringing it to the group, and yet the album has such a great feel to it. Like it just feels like everything fits perfectly in
It
my opinion,
does.
you know? But there was
Because
four different people. So like the idea, like how they had to be on like the same wavelength, I think is
hmm
pretty dope.
it's really amazing that they were able to like sync up like that too. Because it sounded like everybody was like kind of going through a lot like as an individual at that point too. So it's like I
Yeah.
don't even know how much they were like discussing each thing they wanted to contribute, but it's like they all had like that common vision and like make this record like come out of that. And it's really really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just
Definitely.
like fortunate to get to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I wish there was more. Like I wish there was more songs from that era that they would unearth. I wonder if there was. I
Mm.
wonder if they recorded more songs and just
I
didn't make
want
it.
I want stems. I want B-sides. I want instrumentals. I want
Definitely, definitely.
I want a full
What be
to remix everything, but then I want to also rap over the original beats myself.
That would be dope. Before we get to the plugs, anything else you guys want to dig into or say about this album, Balloon Mind State?
Um,
Dun
hold
dun
on.
dun.
Let me make sure I don't let me make sure I don't have any like crazy hot takes about any of these
Yes.
tracks. I think we said like, oh yeah, Patty Duke about like the crossover theory. It's
Yeah.
just like why is it always black people who got to cross over? What
Yeah. Yeah.
and like why does it seem like we always have to adjust what we do to appeal to a wide audience?
Right.
Or, no, I've said wide audience, but I guess white audience. Yeah, yeah.
Either could
And
go either
then
way.
yeah, and then it's like, and it is kind of funny because now you kind of do see like white artists trying to cross over to appeal to black people, and it goes like not quite as well.
Mm.
Like
It's interesting. Yeah.
mainly because like even when like black people like cross over, like technically like crossover, even though it's just us making like something other than something that's explicitly R&B or hip hop, you know, we make a song in a major key for once and make it a little up tempo, ooh, it's pop.
Right.
But like, hold on, had
It's
this.
coming. It'll come back.
It always comes and goes. Karma chameleon. But oh yeah, so it's like the styles that we are crossing over into are still not that far from like the like the rock and roll, the R&B, the soul music, the hip hop, like the black art forms that they were rooted
Right.
in. They're only being modified like a tiny bit to kind of like just make sense to a wider range of people. And then it's like if like a Post Malone comes around, it's always kind of instead of like instead of like contributing to the narrative in like a constructive way, like instead of being like an LP, like a lot of like popular white crossover artists that try to turn pop into hip hop, like often like remove, like they remove the hip hop and in a sense, I don't know, there's something
Mm.
that ends up like missing, like they try to take, like they rap but they take it out of hip hop, like out of hip hop
Mm.
culture, and in leaving that behind, like the spark to the music is also kind of gone.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I think is inherent to white artists. I think it's something that like the institutions that try to like push these people, they just keep fucking it up.
Mm. It's
Like, and
interesting.
it's really
Yeah.
not, it's not really like that hard because like, you know, like look at Adele. You just be good at writing songs.
Right.
Like write
Yeah. Well, I,
write some good songs, perform them well, and mean what you say.
right. Yeah.
You know, like understand where your stuff came from, and like try to be aware of where you're trying to put it, and don't try to pretend it's what it's not, and
Mm.
like also know what it is. I think
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
key thing, knowing what it is. A lot of people don't know what it is and they try to do it. And so
Yeah.
it kind of like it kind of subverts itself in a really ugly way. And
Right.
like in a way that's not like productive. Like it's not a provocative subversion because I love subversion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like yeah, it's not really it doesn't really like push me to do something new and creative. It just sounds like a new arrangement of very familiar tropes that
Mm.
doesn't really evoke anything new out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a new flavor of disappointment.
It's a good way to put it. Man. Yeah, you're bringing up so many thoughts.
Patty Duke, though.
Patty, and it all, yeah, all came from Patty. Do I
Running through
almost
the
you have
trenches.
Anything running through your mind as you were listening to Jay Hill there?
No, 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 nothing.
I I I as I often am pretty hard on white rappers, and
Mm,
I realized this at some point because I've met so many white people over the years where like, hip hop is just like oh, that's cute. Oh, that's a cute little
mm,
thing that you're doing over there, you know? And it was
mm.
just a very, whether it's overt or subtle racist or just ignorance. And like, I really hate that, especially, coming from white rappers. And so like white rappers that are just like what you said, J Hill, taking the rap out of hip hop. It's like,
Yeah,
man, that rubs me the wrong way. Um,
yeah,
and it just happens a lot, it happens a lot. And yeah. But then there
and it's
are some
like,
white rappers that are like, yo, they don't do that and they're super dope. Like you said, LP, a great example. Like, wow, this
mm,
dude is super dope. And there's, tons of other examples too.
there's a. Hold on, I want to shout out MC Paul Barman.
MC Paul Barman, yes. I love him, man.
Like he just leans in.
Yeah.
So there's this book that I tote around. I still haven't finished it and I've owned it for almost 10 years, but I've learned so much from it, like just
Yeah.
existing and having it around me. But it's called Hip Hop Japan, and it's about like
Huh.
the kind of growth, the organic growth and proliferation of like hip hop culture, like on the opposite side of the planet. And like you see people getting into it like when there is just like no capital gain to be found. By the way, the book is by Ian Condry, and shout out to him. He like I finally got the guts to hit him up, and now he likes my music. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's dope. That's great.
but
I'm glad you hit him up.
me too, man. Yeah, but yeah, it's like he has like this really interesting chapter about like the idea of keeping it real, because that's like a very common point in hip hop.
Right.
And like you see Japanese rappers kind of in like their own like cultural debate about like, well, what is real in this context? Do you try to like pay homages to like the black artists that created it? Do you twist your hair into cornrows? Do you make your skin darker to try to look like them because they're the people that made it? Because like,
Right.
and like the way we're protective of our culture over here, we do not take that as flattering, like in the least.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes that's what people mean, and sometimes it is for ridicule. You got to be on your toes for that,
Yeah. Yeah.
because Japan is guilty of that too.
Sure.
Um, and but then there's also the people who are like, does this mean we be Japanese as fuck? Like what? Like do we put, do we make sure all of our text is vertical and put samurais on the cover? Do I rap about like
Yeah.
my hip hop moral system like being like the Bushido code, like stuff like that, and
Yeah.
which personally I think is exactly what people should do. I think that's what makes it sick. Like that's what makes the cultural dialogue like that much more interesting, when we learn from each other and apply it to our own lives,
Yeah.
and then communicate that, so that way like we can like exchange and try to put it all in the same place and be like, so that like I need more international like rap collaborations. I'm really trying to
Mm.
do that.
Yeah, that'd be dope, man. Good luck with that. That'd be super dope.
Yeah, I want us to all be
Yeah.
pissed off about something.
In a way, as as I'm just like listening and thinking about this Blue Mind State, like in a way, Blue Mind State is like, and maybe you referred to this earlier, but it's like it is such a standard for just like great authentic music. I mean, it
Hmm.
has the jazz on there. It has the Japanese group that we mentioned earlier on there. So there is a, I don't know, there is an eclectic nature to it in a sense, even though it has that cohesion. But it's like if you want to include other cultures and other thoughts and ideas, you can. And here's how you do it in a way that is dope and authentic.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say like you can. like you can learn something about hip hop through this album,
Yeah,
and that
yeah, yeah,
like that's what makes it dope to me.
yeah. Dope.
Like, and I think that's what makes it important. That's probably like it's dope regardless of that. Like, there's probably some albums that you probably can't really learn shit about hip hop from. You can learn if you try hard enough, but like I love that stuff. But
Yeah.
but
Right.
this in particular, it's like yo, like there's there's ideas here.
Yeah.
Like a hip hop fan can learn something about hip hop. People who think they know things can walk away from this with something,
Yeah.
and I think that's nice.
And it's gonna remain that way for a long time. I don't think
For
this
a
album's going
long time.
anywhere anytime soon. So on that note, let's do some plugs. I know you were
All
trying to
right,
plug the tape. Let's do the plugs and then we'll do some shout outs too.
all
What
right,
you got there? I
all
saw
right.
tapes.
Hell yeah, we got merch. Oh
Yeah.
man, because I'm so proud. Like like I screen print the shirt. Like I dubbed the tapes. Like these. I put the music on these myself. And also, chaotic good physicals are out. We're actually sold out of these tapes. This case is like broken. This is my own. I keep this one. But like, look at this, man. Shout out to duplication.ca.
Nice.
Out
Looks nice.
there
The green tape.
out there in Canada, tape, the green tape, chaotic goods, everywhere. Patterns of
Chaotic good.
chaos.
Did I see a CD?
Yeah.
Did you have that on CD too?
Yes, we ordered these for the tour. So pick these up in Columbus. Shout out to Copy Kings, my homie Jerry. We picked
Nice.
these up from him in Columbus.
All right.
Um, got yeah, printed up.
Showing
Got the yeah.
showing us the goods there. Nice.
The goods, chaotic goods, man.
Chaotic
Chaotic.
good.
Um, and then actually, so this is one of the demo copies, but this is actually my friend Aloe Vera, their album Opaque, that
Huh.
I dubbed these. But they're up in Columbus, and I think they're actually like writing in these themselves
Oh
for the
wow.
retail copies. But yeah, like I'm doing tapes for people. I'm trying to get this little
Tapes.
tape.
Hey, that's dope, man.
It's
That's
very
super
fun.
dope. That's
The
cool.
new
So,
EP, Ultra Orange.
oh,
Sorry, this is like the last
wait.
thing.
No, you're good. Is that a tape too?
Yes, it
Which
is.
one's that? What is that one? What's that called?
Ultra Orange. So this
Whoa, I've never seen packaging like that.
Yeah, man.
That's
The fresh. This is. I only have 10 of these. These are like these got delivered while I was on tour, but I was like, I was designing these beforehand to like submit for school. So,
oh dope. Looks
um,
fresh, man.
yeah, thank you. This EP is available on Bandcamp now, like jhill.bandcamp.com. The tapes aren't available yet, but yeah, there's like a little test run of 10. I'll probably like put these on sale, put the instrumentals on the
Nice.
B side, and then continue working on this album. I kind of want to expand these 5 tracks to like a total of 10 by the end of the year, but I wanted
Okay.
to put the idea out as it is now.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of Kanye, so I'll be updating albums.
Dope. Dope. Oh, right. I like that idea of like, just
I
using modern
love that.
technology, just make an album and then change the album, just
Change it.
update it.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Such an
Down
interesting
like
idea.
I make it free on Bandcamp, so that way you can download the multiple versions, however many times you
Right.
need. Like you keep the old one. We change the mixes a little bit. Like delete the old one if you want.
Right.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
if there's a version you wish you had, find the person that had it.
Right.
I love making people look for my music. I
Yeah,
love
it's
looking
dope.
for music. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of an asshole for it, but I love making it difficult to find my stuff.
What's the hunt, man? I mean, part of the fun of like digging is like actually doing the digging. It's like
Exactly. I'm like
going and finding it. There's some joy to that. So that's cool. So if you're tuning in, make sure you go Bandcamp J Hill and
jhill.bandcamp.com.
Patterns of Chaos, the new
Patterns of
album Chaotic Good
chaos.bandcamp.com.
and
Streaming.
Ultra Orange. Yes, they're streaming all platforms. Check those out. And Jay Hill, the last thing we do is we do shout outs. It's a hip hop show, so we do shout outs. So Iomas and I will give some. Then we'll turn it over to you to take us out of here with the final shout out. So you got some time to think about your shout outs. All right.
Yeah.
Iomas, start with you, my man. Who do you want to shout out tonight?
Shout out to Boom Bap Chat Brothers. Shout out Pro, who couldn't be here tonight. Knee deep in work, so hope he getting stuff done. And yeah, man, shout out Jay Hill for taking the time to come on the show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Respect,
Yeah,
yeah, for
man.
sure.
Definitely. Definitely. I want to shout out obviously Profound as well. And Cincinnati, man. Just want to shout out Cincinnati, everyone in Cincinnati doing dope things. There's such a rich history here of music history. I mean, not just hip hop, but like all kinds of dope, music has come out of Cincinnati and Ohio in general. But a lot of dope hip hop has come out of Cincinnati. It's still coming out, and exciting to see, you, Jay Hill, and several of the artists, Devin and others, Mr. Dibbs. Shout out to Coop Art on YouTube, Animal Crackers, like such great history, new artists coming out. Just really appreciate, the Cincinnati scene. So shout out Cincinnati, shout out Ya Ra, who is going to be our MC guest next Thursday. Super dope MC. Can't wait to have her on the show next Thursday. So shout out to her. And shout out to Shorty Nomas, man. She's
Yeah,
gonna be on
shout
the
out Shorty
show in a
Noma.
few. She's gonna be on the show in a few weeks. So really excited to chat with her and appreciate her, sitting down with Jay Hill this morning and having that conversation. And finally, shout out to you, Jay Hill, man. Just appreciate, the good energy you're providing here in Cincinnati and the good stuff you're doing and the art you're making. It's inspiring. Just appreciate you doing it and appreciate you being here tonight, man. So shout out to you. And with that, I'll let you take us out of here.
Oh, shite. Well, all right. First and foremost, shout out MC Till and Io Moss. Thank y'all so much for having me on. This is like really fun. Thank you for letting me like nerd out about this album this long. I clearly think a
No
lot about
doubt.
it. um, but yeah, no, like shout out Stalls, POC, rap music, rap activity. Roberto Wendell, shout out my girl Bree because she's amazing. Shout out Landon Wordswell and Modest and the Don Avalar. That tour was amazing. I'm so grateful that they had us on. We learned like a whole bunch. But yeah, like just shout out the scene. Shout out every like all of our friends. You know, everyone we've like all the characters in this big old story we're part of. Animal Crackers, GK Fam, just fucking Grand Council, those that formerly were Apollo 18 but are still like the homies that we
Mm,
know at like like Doty Fam, Tribe, the phone, the 18th Vineyard folks. Shout out the peoples.
yeah.
Um and shout out De La Soul, you know what I mean? Shout out,
Heck yeah.
yeah, Native Tongues, hip hop worldwide, rap music eternally,
Yes,
art.
yes.
Stan, 18 and counting, for letting us stay at his house in St. Louis for those 4 days. That was excellent. That like put a battery in my back. I was in his studio for like several days straight, just
Dope.
fucking.
That's dope. That's dope. And one last word for the good people in Cincinnati. Io Massimo Rod will be here. Jay Hill and Patterns of Chaos will be here at Everybody's Records May 21st for some performances and a panel discussion about the native tongues and its influence on the artists and the people there that day. So May 21st, Everybody's Records, 1 to 4. Check it out. Any last word, Jay Hill?
Yeah, I knew I was gonna forget to do this because I thought of this first, and then I was like, "Yup, got it," and then I started talking. But shout out Radio Artifact, Devin
Yes.
Brooks, Andrew Tetrick, the homies. They brought me on. Like we recorded Chaotic Good there. Um, they brought me on to host Plum Jam, where I host and interview the artists that are coming from out of town, artists from in town. I freestyle with everybody. Check us out, Plum Jam Raps, Radio Artifact, the label on Bandcamp and on YouTube and Twitch and everything. They make so much stuff. They're like amazing, and they're trying to make really cool stuff happen for artists in the city. And I'm like glad to be part of the movement we got going on. Sick, yeah, RA for sure. And they got good beer.
Dope. Good beer. Yes. Dope. Well, on that note, as we always do, we say peace, peace, peace.